Kamala Harris won't run for California governor in 2026. Political analysis reaction. Shocking decision shakes California politics to its core. In a move few saw coming, former Vice President Kamala Harris announced she will not enter the 2026 race for California governor, bringing months of swirling rumors to an abrupt end after her 2024 presidential bid fell short against Donald Trump. In a message posted to her X account, Harris explained that after careful reflection, she has decided not to seek any elected position for now. She emphasized that her commitment to leadership and public service remains strong, but it won't involve a campaign next year. Instead, she plans to travel, listen to Americans' concerns firsthand, assist Democratic candidates nationwide, and reveal more of her future roadmap in the months ahead. Harris isn't a newcomer to California politics. She served as the state's Attorney General before winning a U.S. Senate seat and later joining President Joe Biden's ticket as Vice President in 2021. Many insiders had pegged her as the frontrunner to succeed term-limited Governor Gavin Newsom. Yet as she reminded followers, California will always be my home, even if her focus shifts beyond state lines. And this is the part most people miss. Her withdrawal dramatically reshapes the Democratic primary landscape. Without Harris in the field, figures like Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kounalakis, Attorney General Rob Bonta, and former Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti now face a less crowded path to the nomination. But here's where it gets controversial. Republican strategists wasted no time pouncing on her announcement. RGA Rapid Response Director Colin Crompton declared that Trump's victory effectively ended Harris's political career, accusing her of policies that would have tanked California's economy. Prioritized criminal illegal immigrants over law-abiding citizens. And dragged down the Democratic brand. A razor-sharp critique sure to ignite fierce debate. Gubernatorial hopeful Sheriff Chad Bianco echoed that sentiment, telling Fox News Digital he isn't surprised by Harris's choice and believes her absence catapults me to victory next November. He described California's challenges, an expensive cost of living, a criminal justice system critics say favors offenders, and growing safety concerns, and blasted the remaining Democratic contenders as the best of the worst. Even Hunter Biden weighed in with a curt reaction. That's interesting, he told Fox News when asked about Harris's decision. Yet Harris's post hinted that she isn't disappearing from the political stage altogether. She called for new methods and fresh thinking, insisting that while her values remain the same, she won't be bound by the same playbook. She closed by reaffirming her dedication to fighting for freedom, opportunity, fairness, and human dignity. What do you make of Harris's move? Was stepping aside a savvy strategy or a sign of deeper fractures within the Democratic Party? Could this be the end of her electoral ambitions or merely a tactical pause? Share your thoughts and join the conversation below. Let's debate whether this shake-up was inevitable or entirely avoidable. Kamala Harris, no California governor run, eyes 2028 presidential bid. It's the political chess move that says more about 2028 than it does about California. Kamala Harris is officially bowing out of the race for governor. In a much-anticipated announcement on Wednesday, the former vice president confirmed she will not be seeking to lead her home state next year. This decision effectively ends months of speculation and strategically clears her calendar for a potential second run at the White House in 2028, following her 2024 election loss to Donald Trump. For months, Harris has maintained a low profile, keeping her inner circle tight as she contemplated jumping into an already packed field of candidates aiming to succeed the term-limited Governor Gavin Newsom. The Oakland native had returned to California in January after attending Trump's inauguration, a stark reminder of the political landscape she now navigates after Joe Biden stepped aside from the presidential race and endorsed her as his successor. By foregoing a gubernatorial campaign, Harris is now free to chart a new course, one that keeps her firmly in the national political conversation. Sources close to her suggest she is exploring the creation of new political organizations designed to advocate for the core ideas of her 2024 platform. In a personal statement, Harris reflected on her journey. Over the past 6 months, I have spent time reflecting on this moment in our nation's history. And the best way for me to continue fighting for the American people and advancing the values and ideals I hold dear, she explained. I am a devout public servant. I have believed that the best way I could make a difference was to improve the system from within. And it has been a profound honor to do that work as a prosecutor, attorney general, United States Senator, and Vice President. She acknowledged giving the governorship serious consideration. I love this state, its people and its promise. It is my home, she stated, before concluding. But after deep reflection, I've decided that I will not run for governor in this election. This isn't the first time Harris has chosen a national path over a state-level one. She previously opted for a U.S. Senate run instead of the governorship, a move her advisors felt better suited her background as a prosecutor and her focus on national policy. While friends and former aides, speaking anonymously to discuss private conversations, said she was genuinely intrigued by the challenge of leading California, tackling everything from wildfire recovery to the state's housing crisis. The consensus was clear. Her inner circle largely believed that a run for governor would effectively shut the door on another presidential bid in 2028. Kamala Harris declines California governor run. What's next for her political future? In a surprising turn of events, former Vice President Kamala Harris has announced that she will not be vying for the governorship of California, putting an end to months of speculation that followed her loss to Donald Trump in the previous presidential election. Over the past few months, I've deeply contemplated seeking the honor of serving as California's governor, Harris expressed in a carefully crafted statement. I hold immense love for this state, its vibrant people, and its boundless potential. It's my beloved home. However, after much introspection, I have concluded that I will not pursue the governor's office in this upcoming election. For the time being, my commitment to leadership and public service will take a different path, one that doesn't involve elected office, she elaborated. I am eager to reconnect with the American public, support the election of fearless Democrats nationwide, and will share more about my future plans in the coming months. Sources close to Harris suggest that she is safeguarding her options for a potential 2028 presidential bid. While a gubernatorial campaign wouldn't outright prevent her from later running for president, the constraints of a statewide race were a significant factor in her decision-making process. This move definitely leaves the door ajar for 2028, one insider remarked. The source also noted that Harris's decision came after extensive discussions over several months. It was an incredibly tough call for her. She wrestled with it deeply. She was torn, the source added. Her ultimate goal is to make the most substantial impact she can. A month ago, Harris reportedly convened with a small group of advisors in Los Angeles to weigh her options: not running for governor, preparing for a 2028 presidential run, or stepping away from elected roles entirely. In the end, Harris made the choice independently. In the immediate future, Harris is contemplating involvement in non-profit work and possibly establishing a political action committee, according to another source. She is also set to campaign for fellow Democrats in the upcoming midterm elections. Harris has a storied political history in California, having served for a decade in statewide office, first as the state's attorney general and then as a U.S. senator, before resigning to become vice president after Joe Biden's victory in the 2020 election. She later assumed the Democratic presidential nomination when Biden swayed to the race. A third source who spoke with Harris on Wednesday emphasized her eagerness to engage with Californians and Americans nationwide, albeit as a private citizen. They asserted that Harris had a viable path to victory had she chosen to run for governor. Keep an eye out, because there are more announcements coming from her, and they won't be about 2028, the source teased. She still aims to be a key voice in the national dialogue, especially regarding Donald Trump. And participating in California debates and forums wouldn't facilitate that, the source further explained. Harris's decision leaves the race for California's next governor wide open. Current Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom, who rose through the political ranks alongside Harris in San Francisco, is ineligible for re-election due to term limits. Several Democrats have already entered the fray to succeed Newsom, including Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kounalakis, former U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary and State Attorney General Xavier Becerra, former Representative Katie Porter, former State Senate President Tony Atkins, and former Los Angeles Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa, among others. The Democratic Party is expected to maintain its hold on the governorship in the strongly Democratic state, which Harris won by a 20-point margin in the last presidential race. But here's where it gets controversial. Is Harris's decision a strategic move to preserve her political capital for a bigger stage? Or is it a sign of shifting priorities? What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Natasha Korecki, a senior national political reporter for NBC News, along with Bridget Bowman, Peter Alexander, and Nnamdi Egwonwu, contributed to this report.